Welcome, folks. This is the cluster meeting for students that are interested in STEM, science, technology, engineering, math. This is us. My name is Matt Lyles. I'm from the math department. We also have with us Keaton Ehrig. He represents Ag, and Remy Ware, who is representing science. So we have a presentation we're going to give to you. I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to start this presentation, and we are glad you're here. See if I can't get my thing going. And looks a lot like a slideshow. How we doing? All right.
So STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, and so I get to go first, being the first on the list here. We can work with that. Matt, maybe I can give you a cue and you can work through. That works. All right. Okay. So what can you do with science and agricultural degrees? So we're looking at some of the classes that we offer in the realm of sciences. So classes including in biology, in chemistry, environmental science, geology, physics, astronomy, and then agriculture. So what can you do with some of these degrees? Why would it be beneficial to have a degree, a science degree? For one, they're pretty high demand. Things are going on worldwide. I mean, you might have heard of COVID-19 and some other things that might be useful to have a science background in. So it's a really high demand. And depending on the choices of things that you opt for, there could be some pretty high wages. There's also numerous crossover opportunities, which I'll touch upon what you can do with a science background that may not necessarily be as a scientist, but having that background could be very useful in that field. So for example, okay, pathways to a job in science, associate's degrees, preparing you for a transfer to a university. One of our goals is to give you the right steps, the right knowledge and stepping stones to getting into a 4-year university and having the background for knocking out some of the basics and the background that you need to get in there and be successful. So deciding if science is a good choice for you, pretty good step. I mean, personally, when I took the option of going into science, I took my first couple of years in and kind of figured out that that's really what I love to do, and then proceeded with the next few steps. So eventually it'll lead to something like a master's degree if you wanted to continue on from a bachelor's, or from associates to a bachelor's to a master's. And so that's kind of a working degree in science. A lot of the professors and instructors here on campus have that level of degree. So teaching at a college level could be useful, having that, or going on even with a doctoral degree, going into teaching in like a 4-year university, or going into the realm of research. Other pieces of the puzzle of what, as far as associates in science that we offer, biology, there's organismal level biology, talking about organisms as a whole, or we could talk about it in the form of associates in biology as far as human-based or human-focused biology. There's chemistry degrees, there is an environmental science degree, and then geology. It's all right. So who's hiring? Who wants a person with a science degree? If you're looking at it, government agencies, there's United States Department of Agriculture, a whole bunch of Environmental Protection Agency. There's a whole bunch of those government agencies that are looking for people with science backgrounds, be it in biology, chemistry, environmental sciences. So there's a lot of those looking for those particular degree plans. Universities themselves, they want you to have a science degree coming in to go into some of these programs that they're building upon, like the bigger major programs. So having just a generalized science degree could be a stepping stone into some of these other pathways for a 4-year bachelor degree or master program, whichever one however far you're going to go with it. Mining companies, having a science degree, physics, a background in physics and in chemistry could be useful for some of those in the field of mining. Manufacturing companies, going into factory work or manufacturing, having a science background could be very useful for those. Research laboratories, it would make very much sense to have a person who's trained working in a lab setting, which a lot of the science degree plans that we have, you spend extensive time in a lab, so you understand laboratory techniques, and coming out of those settings, going into research laboratories makes you a useful tool for them as an asset. Healthcare, and we are a big stepping stone into a lot of the allied health programs, also going into pre-med. So those aspects, those backgrounds are hiring from those. So sciences can also help with some other disciplines, cross-marketability. So I kind of talked about this cross-training and cross-marketability a moment ago. Can you be a useful tool for some other places that aren't exactly science? So forensic science is a realm of science that deals more with court kind of handling court cases and things, but having a background in science to handle that. So having a degree in science obviously plays in there, but you'd be surprised at law itself, helping to exercise law and kind of keeping businesses working within the law, and having a background in biology, for example, can help someone who's working in environmental issues to keep a business out of trouble with violating environmental policies. Politics. One of my best friends from grad school has a degree in biology, but he's choosing to go into politics because he wants to help dictate law that is environmentally and biologically useful. So he has that mindset going into that program. So that's a useful way of going about it. Or even engineering. All of these aspects, physics, chemistry, biology, a lot of these things play into engineering. So Keaton, I'm going to hand it off over to you, sir.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks for having me for that. Um, so like I said, I'm the ag guy. So here at CTC, we have a very unique opportunity to have a farm and ranch and agriculture program here at the college. We're very fortunate. We have about, go ahead and advance one if you don't mind. Have a farm and ranch center. We also have a greenhouse center, which students we do a lot of outside hands-on labs, weather permitting. I'm not going to put you outside in the middle of a snowstorm more than once. So but it's we're able to utilize those and get a lot of great hands-on experience. If we look at a benefit of a ag degree out there, they are in huge high demand. If you get on Indeed, if you get on any LinkedIn and start searching agriculture jobs, there are a lot of opportunities out there for students to be able, once they obtain a degree, to be able to move into the industry. And so there's a lot of opportunities out there for you to be your own boss. If you have a small piece of ground, some soil, and you can grow your own crops and sell them at farmers markets and try to market them different ways. The whole farm to fork movement right now is very large, and so you're seeing more restaurants geared towards more locally grown produce, and a lot of those farmers that are growing that produce or animals, they're their own boss. Now, remember, when you are your own boss, your day still starts at 5 o'clock every morning and still ends at 9 o'clock when the sun goes down. But we just don't have a big boss over your head, essentially. But you get to work outside with most ag degrees if you choose that path. Uh, it can be really applied across the whole entire world, in my opinion. Uh, you know, things you learn here just in Texas can take you to Australia, New Zealand, Europe. We all do basically the same things. We tweak it a little bit and have different ways of doing things, but essentially the basis is the same. If you enjoy working with your hands, that's an aspect that I really enjoy. Being able to cultivate the soil and see something grow from your labor is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And then at the end of the day, who doesn't love a fresh ripened tomato right off the plant that you bite into like a big old juicy apple? And I mean, a good old fresh tomato as good as it gets. And so being able to produce your own food is a lot of people's goals. So we have a couple of options for students. We have certificates of completion. We have agriculture industries and production technology. So if you're kind of want to just get the basics of the ag industry, these are two certificates for you to participate in. And once you take those actually can lead into, if you still want to keep going to school, some associates of science or applied science. Now, the associates of science is a direct transfer to most four-year universities, or all 4 years in universities in Texas. So it's kind of your first 2 years of your undergrad if you're going to go to a 4-year institution. Now, if you want to just be more hands-on and really worry about the applied side of how we actually do things, we have equine management, ag production, and horticulture management. Those are some associates of applied science degrees that really kind of help get your foot into the industry. We've had students go out and work in nurseries, work in the hydroponic lettuce factories or grow systems. We've had students do just about anything out there. A golf course superintendent. So if you enjoy golf and feel like growing grass for a living, that's a great option out there. And so these will prepare you for transfers to a university to earn a bachelor's degree if that's what you so choose to do with them. And we really try to do a hands-on approach with you as a student to be able to kind of gear your educational degree towards that and try to make sure you're going to gain the knowledge that you need to move forward with.
Before you move on, I'm sorry I interrupted you. We had a question,
Okay.
and we were talking about horticulture earlier. Lillian wants to know if you can give a broad overview of the basic concepts and classroom work that takes place in the horticultural class.
Okay, awesome. Great question. Thank you for that question. So the horticulture class, we mainly base on the basics of growing plants. So we talk about different types of plants, how we identify plants according to their species and how we can maybe grow them better and what type of environment, because the environment for a plant is huge. Some plants do better in one part of the world and they don't do. If we would take that same plant from Montana, let's say, and bring it here to Great Central Texas, that plant will hardly survive outside by itself. It probably does not like the warm temperatures we have. Probably had a little bit better soil than what we currently have here on campus, but around us. So a lot of those things come into that. We try to work, we would do a lot of work on propagation. So different types of propagation, from leaf cuttings to stem cuttings to where we do like an air pod where we basically grow a plant from a plant while it's still on the plant. We do a lot of, we start a lot of seeds and try to take them through the entire process and try to look at maybe what happens in a greenhouse situation, where if we think about big box stores out there that have a large garden center, where those plants come from and how they're kind of produced as well. So, and we do spend quite a bit of time in the greenhouse trying to really, we like to get our hands dirty. We like to get dirt underneath our fingernails. I'm the weird one out of the whole science department, because dirt is kind of cool to me, because that's where life comes from, in my opinion. So that's what we try to do. But thank you for that question. That was an awesome question. So I guess I'll take this slide if you're all right with that, Ramey. If we look at the salaries up there, there's a lot of high range salaries, and I get it. If you sit down there and look at the ag degrees, that number is really low. But if we think about it, that includes workers without any degree. So we're talking very entry level farm management hands that help just to take care of the essentials. But there are people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I have a friend that buys cattle for a living out of Nebraska, or I guess Kansas now, and he probably brings in 85 to 90,000 and gets to play golf twice a week. So there's a lot of options out there for you to be able to chase down a great career in agriculture or any of these others. I'm not taking anything away from a biologist or a chemist or astronomer. I'm pretty pro green stuff and animals, so that's what I like to do. Ramey, you got any input?
Yeah, as far as the others on the list, a biologist, you have a pretty wide range of different things you can do with a biology degree. Like teaching is one of those aspects, doing research is another, and research even as a field biologist or in the lab. So having that degree can be pretty versatile. Chemistry, you can work in a bunch of different chem labs, working for environmental associations. Astronomy, that was a pretty high number. So working as an astronomer, NASA would be one of those backgrounds that astronomy would be useful in, as well as in education. Physicists, going into any kind of range of engineering or some of these other backgrounds. So that one has a pretty wide range. Geologist is a pretty popular one now, especially leading into like studies related to petroleum engineering. So looking for oil and finding out, those places where oil is associated with. So geology has a pretty wide range of pay scales too. Environmental science, that would be a background of trying to help to figure out how impact for businesses and how they impact environmental issues like endangered species, or even just tearing up the environment whenever they build a new place. Like if you have a business coming in and building new properties, or even housing, whatever that's affecting, they usually go in and rely on environmental scientists to help answer any kind of those issues. So there's some pretty wide range of pay scales there too. So all the way up from 86,000 is kind of a middle ground for that, but it could be pretty low or pretty high depending on what you're doing.
Okay, before we jump into the computer science thing, where this is Mr. Lyles popping in, I was gonna say sometimes some of these science degrees will pop up in places you don't imagine. Like my wife was about to have surgery, and they're like, "Well, we can't start till our physicist shows up." I'm like, "What?" They had a physicist on staff that did calculations and made the. I'm like, "I'm good for that." So there's all kind of wacky settings where you could find jobs where you might not have assumed that you could find a job with some of these degrees. They're very versatile things, very
That's
employable. All right. So confession, true talk up front here. I'm not a computer science person. I'm covering this for other people. So there's this quote here, and y'all can read as well as I can, but we'll have like story time. Code is not like other how computer workbooks. It doesn't have big color illustrations of disk drives with arrows showing how the data sweeps into the computer. Code has no drawings of trains carrying a cargo of zeros and ones. Metaphors and similes are wonderful literary devices, but they do nothing but obscure the beauty of technology. I'm like, okay. Again, I'm not a computer science person, but there's that thing there. They asked me to read it, so I sure did. We offer a computer science degree, an Associate of Science in Computer Science. We work in tandem with Texas A&M Central Texas. Lots of our degree plans do that. I know that biology does. Y'all could probably speak more to what other in the science department does the same thing. But you could do 2 years with us, slide right down the road, stay locally here, and get you a 4-year degree right here in the Killeen area, which is pretty neat. And the cost is usually significantly lower than going to a 4-year institution. So we have a Associate of Science that transfers nicely to just down the road if you're interested. Some typical earnings here for programmers, software developers, and system software developers here. You can read the numbers as well as I can, but it's a pretty solid paying position here. And you know that the demand's not going anywhere anytime soon. Computers are in everything you use these days, from the little computer you carry in your pocket to any business you ever walk in. They're all around us, and they're only going to get more important as we go. And somebody has to program them. And if that's you, you have a job. All right. Now we're getting into some things that I know something about. I'm a math teacher, so I'm going to cover math, engineering, and robotics. The math department here at CTC, we offer an Associate of Science in math. All of our courses here are solidly transferring to other institutions, whether you choose to get your degree with us or not. If you're going to take calculus courses here, I would suggest to take the entire sequence. We do calculus 1, 2, and 3. There's a couple of institutions like University of Texas in Austin. They smush it down into 2 semesters. And so if you don't take the whole sequence with us, sometimes you'll lose a credit somehow there in the middle by taking just part of the sequence. If you do the whole sequence with us, it transfers to every institution in the state. Otherwise, you want to make sure you get as much credit as you can for the things that you already know. But we offer calculus, we offer linear algebra, we offer differential equations, we offer just regular college algebra. For those of y'all who aren't going to get a major, you need a college algebra checkbox on your degree plan to go take the chemistry class over there in the science department. I think that's a prereq. So we offer all of these things, and all these things transfer nicely to 4-year institutions. So earnings in math, typically math teachers, they say, oh, they're going to be teachers. And that's not necessarily true. It certainly can be, as evidenced by myself. Actuaries are people who basically they're really good at probability and statistics. They work for financial companies. They work for insurance companies. If you work for an insurance company, they need to figure out what's the actual risk that this payout is going to happen. They need to try to be able to plan for it. And actuaries sit there and compute that. So they make sure that they have the money there to help pay out when a claim hits. In the financial industry, they help try to predict market growth and market, which way the market's going to go for both specific companies and bigger picture type things, obviously in efforts to try to make some more money. Data analyst. These numbers are actually going up right now. Big data is a term you have probably heard. You need somebody to make sense out of that big data, and mathematicians can do that. And I know for a fact that the A&M Central Texas down the road have started tailoring their bachelor's program to get you specific. My brain turned off right in the middle, which is pretty awesome. So some specific real world experience in that so that you're even more employable right out of the box. I have my bachelor's degree. I can go get a job in this and hit the ground running because you already have experience in the field. All right. Operations research analyst, you can do all kind of different directions with it. When I got out of school, my cousin offered me a job. I didn't take it, but they wanted me to help model places in the Gulf to more effectively mine for oil. And I was like, I didn't think about that when I started taking a math degree, but you never know. It can go all kind of wild directions here. Why math at Central Texas College? So bear with me here. I'm going to click this and I'm going to have to do a thing to make the video work. So hang on a half a second.
Hey, Matt, you may have a question in the chat box too.
Say again?
You may have a question in the chat box too. I don't know if you can address that question. Does CTC have any computer science internships?
That's a fantastic question that I do not know the answer to.
I can drop in Dr. Oster's email in there from the computer science department.
56 hours in 2 weeks.
Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
No, yes.
Okay, so actually one of the things that they do is some of these courses, some of the degree plans do have internships. And so they do place you at specific locations based on your degree plan. I don't know all the details, but there are options. The other thing that needs to be kept in mind for all students is that we have a career center and they help you get placed. They don't do placing, but they can help you get ready for interviews. They can help you get your resume squared away, and they can help you figure out how to take the experience that you got at the college and put it in a resume so that you are more employable, or at least you can show how employable you are. That is something that we have available to all of our students, not just STEM students or computer science. And I really recommend that you all take advantage of that. The other thing is that we have a career, a lending closet if you need to go to an interview and you don't have clothes that are appropriate for an interview. They will go ahead and help identify some pieces that might be able to look appropriate and well on you so that you can go on to the interview and have a more successful experience.
Fantastic. We're ready to roll with the video now? All right. Let me know if we can't hear it.
Central Texas College is kind of a unique situation since people move around so much. So it's like, do I get involved in this college or do I wait for a 4-year, or how does that play out? And I really do recommend the math program at CTC because they truly care about the students and they care about how much information that they pour into your little mind.
When you get a mathematics degree, you can be a teacher, you can be an engineer. If you get an associate's degree in mathematics, what I really like that is it allows you to go into any kind of STEM field. You'll be prepared. So you'll be able to, if you want to be a doctor, you can be a doctor, engineer, teacher, drafting and design, architect. So if you want to pursue a bachelor's degree in mathematics, you want to teach high school mathematics or upper level, you want to go into engineering or anything like that, you'll be calculus complete, which means that whatever college you transfer to, you'll be ready to pursue the junior level, senior level courses once you get your associate's degree in mathematics from us.
PowerPoint now. I'll see the PowerPoint. All right. Engineering. Let's slide over into engineering. Engineering. A lot of people jump into engineering because they want to make some money. Just like science, the salaries are pretty solid. Lots of companies out there that make things. Engineers design stuff to make. It's what they do, right? Engineering is based on calculus, so you need a lot of math to get there. But we set you up with that. We get you on the ground and get you aimed in the right direction. We have it set up to where we partner with A&M Central Texas down the road, where you can actually get an engineering degree right here locally in Killeen, or you could transfer off to any other four-year public or private four-year institution and get your degree from there. We have plenty of students that go to UT, go to A&M, go to UT Arlington, Texas Tech, or further out. So whatever gives you joy, we will make you prepared to transfer and get on with your engineering, both degree and career. So typically you start with a math degree plan, and then once you got into it just enough, you transfer into the engineering, and you can take your basic engineering courses as well as math courses. So you transfer an awful lot of credits at one time. We offer statics and dynamics and circuits and a bunch of stuff. And we have one of our the guy that's in charge, the program director for engineering, also is faculty at A&M Central Texas as well. So you have this nice smooth transition where you even have a familiar face when you get down the road if you stay locally. But our stuff, we work really well with the other colleges around the state and make sure that all of our credits are transferring as well as possible. All righty, so several different kinds of engineering. Aerospace, I think is pretty straightforward. You know, you hear all these stuff about these different space opportunities going on. Somebody's got to design those rockets. Could be you. Biomedical, you know, it's not just prosthetics anymore. You know, it used to be where you're designing efficient prosthetics. They make hands that do all kind of weird stuff, limbs that move, you know, pacemakers that do anything that could potentially be moving inside of your human body. Somebody's designing that. Biomedical engineering. Civil engineering, they typically design roads, bridges, and hard structure like that. Electrical engineering, I think, speaks for itself, but it can go a couple of ways. It can go big, like power systems, or it can go small, like circuits in a computer. It can go lots of different ways with that. Mechanical, I have two brothers that both have mechanical engineering degrees. It's a pretty broad field. My older brother does, they call it HVAC, heating and air conditioning, basically. My younger brother works with communication satellites, but they both have the same degree. You can go all kind of wild ways. Professor Ware spoke about petroleum engineering earlier. It's a very hot field. You can make some pretty good money. You know, it just depends what your interests are, but you have the opportunity to go lots of different ways here. Average starting salary listed there, and it's growing all the time here. It's embarrassing when people come out of my students come out of school and they're making more money than me, but I'm happy for them. And we're just glad that they got that. You know, we got them pushed off in the world and they're going and being productive citizens, and it's fantastic, and we're happy. So if you'd like to be that, we're happy to get you down that same road and offer your engineering degree and career.
Matt, let me jump in real quick before we go any further on engineering. I would recommend to students that they talk to an academic advisor here on campus about the engineering degree program, because some of the classes that Texas A&M Central Texas requires are not specifically on our degree plan, and it will help you to know what those classes are so you don't waste time, you know, getting over to A&M Central Texas and saying, oh shoot, I still need this. So you have to come back to CTC and finish up a couple more classes. So make sure that you talk with those advisors at both at A&M Central Texas and us to make sure that you've completed all of those classes so everything is smooth and you get it done in a timely manner.
Hey, Bruce, will you do me a favor? I'm not very good at multitasking. Would you put Sam Jackson's email address in the chat? It's just S Jackson.
Sure
And
will.
he's the program director for engineering, and
Sure
he is
will.
happy to answer any and all questions. He's exceedingly helpful. So his name is Sam Jackson. He's very good, and you'll see him in the video here in just a moment. So let me see if I can't get this thing launched. I'll remember.
Hi, YouTube.
I'll remember to go full screen here in just a second. Once I figure out how to switch it back over to and do the stuff. Maybe. Come me. On the right button. Let me get past the ad here. 3, 2, 1. Skip the ad. Go full screen. Mutify.
I would definitely suggest this program to people wanting to get into engineering. It's a great program, and now that A&M has their mechanical engineering program up and running, it's a great transition program to a 4-year degree.
We have an engineering program here at Central Texas College. We offer an associate degree in engineering. Because we have the program here at Central Texas College, the tuition and fees is less than other institutions. And then when they move on to a foreign institution, they're going to be saving a lot of money. Now, here what we have also, we have a good pathway now. We just started this semester, fall 2019, with A&M Central Texas. So the students finish 2 years here at CTC, and they finish another 2 years at A&M Central Texas to finish a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering technology. If you want to be an engineer, this is the first step. You can start here from CTC, finish 2 years, and you can move on to a 4-year institution.
You all see my, are we back to PowerPoint?
Yes, sir, we are.
Look at there. All righty. So we have another field here that is just starting. We're trying to get our numbers up, but we have a new robotics program here at CTC. Got a lot of money behind it, got a grant coming in where we have a lot of good equipment and we can get this going. We're partnering up not only with local high schools, but with some local industry to get some real world experience. Trying to get this program off the ground. We're offering both certificates, a level 1 certificate and an associate of applied science in robotics. The degree prepares students to earn other industrial certifications and allow you to fill the need for be a robotic technician and all kind of stuff out there. Level 1 certificate will complement CTCs. So it's a stackable deal. If you finish the level 1 certificate, you can start sliding. If you want to keep going, you can slide right into the associates and continue working with either your associates in math, engineering, computer information technology, or in robotics itself. And you could transfer off to a 4-year school and finish a degree in any of those things. I think that's the end of our deal. I'm going to quit sharing the PowerPoint. Back to regular here. I can finally see the chat again. All right. I couldn't see the chat while I was sharing, so y'all were telling me to maximize, and I was a knucklehead.
It all worked out.
All right. Was there any questions that have been happening that I missed?
No, we've answered the ones in WebEx. I'm not sure on Facebook.
Gotcha.
Mariceli says we're good to go on Facebook as far as that goes. So, all right.
All right. So are we ready to wrap it up? Is that what we're saying? All right. Well, on behalf of Professor Ware and Professor Ehrig and all of our exciting supporting staff that are helping making this happen, thanks to Charlotte, Bruce, and Mariceli there, and anybody else that might be on here helping, I have no idea. We would like to thank you for taking the time to visit with us today. And at any point, all three of us here, we'll go ahead and put, I'm speaking out for them. We'll put our email addresses in the chat window. So feel free to reach out to us at any time. We're happy to help you, to answer your questions. We would like to see you succeed in whatever it is that you're interested in. We want to help you have a good, positive experience here at CTC, and we're very happy to have you.
Right. Well, you have all their contact information there. And also just a reminder that this presentation will be available on YouTube later today. And so if you came in late or if you need to review any of the information that was shared today, you can pull it up on YouTube at your leisure.
Y'all are going to make us YouTube famous.
Yes, we are. That's the goal. We want you all to be influencers.
Yeah.